Sparkle the unicorn was admiring a bright yellow plastic sunflower in Dolly the doll's miniature garden when she heard a faint, unfamiliar sound. Bzzzzzzz. "Oh my!" Sparkle whispered, her glittery horn twitching. "What's that little humming sound?" "It's coming from near the sunflower." Bolt the remote control car zoomed over, his headlights blinking. "Beep beep." "I hear it too." "Is it a tiny new motor somewhere?" Perched right on the center of the toy sunflower was a small, new toy figure. It was black and yellow striped, with delicate see-through wings and tiny legs. This was a toy bee. Professor Paws, the wise teddy bear, who was carefully dusting his collection of interesting buttons, looked up and smiled. "Ah, it sounds like you've discovered a very important little visitor. That, my friends, is a toy model of a bee." "A bee?" Patches the plush puppy yipped, cautiously approaching the sunflower. "It's making a fuzzy sound." "Is that how a bee talks, Professor Paws?" "That bzzzzz sound is the sound a real bee makes as it flies, Patches, from its wings beating very fast." Professor Paws explained, his voice warm. A bee is a flying insect, and they are incredibly important creatures. They are often fuzzy, with black and yellow stripes, just like this little toy bee. He continued, "A real bee is very busy. They fly from flower to flower collecting a sweet liquid called nectar and a yellow powder called pollen. They use the nectar to make delicious honey back in their hive, which is like a bee's home, often with many, many other bees." Captain Awesome, the action figure, who had been practicing his super listening skills, nodded. "Honey. That sounds like a superfood. So a bee makes honey?" "Indeed they do, Captain." Professor Paws chuckled. "And while they're collecting nectar and pollen, a bee does something else very important called pollination. As they move from flower to flower, they help spread the pollen, which helps new flowers, fruits, and vegetables grow. Without a bee and other pollinators, we wouldn't have many of the yummy foods we enjoy." Dolly the doll, who loved flowers, was fascinated. "So a bee helps flowers make more flowers, and they make honey too?" "A bee is very clever. Extremely clever and hardworking, Dolly." Professor Paws affirmed. "A bee lives in a colony with a queen bee and many worker bees, all doing their special jobs." Sparkle looked at the little toy bee with new admiration. "So this tiny bee represents a creature that helps make the world beautiful and tasty?" Bolt beeped thoughtfully. "So a bee buzzes, flies, collects nectar to make honey, and helps plants grow by pollinating them?" "A perfect summary of what a bee does, Bolt." Professor Paws praised. "And while a real bee can sting if it feels threatened, they are usually very gentle if you leave them alone to do their important work." The toys decided to call their new toy Buzzy the Bee. Buzzy became a regular visitor to Dolly's toy garden, always busy among the plastic flowers. They loved pretending to hear Buzzy's gentle bzzzzz and imagining all the wonderful work a real bee does. The little toy bee was a reminder of how important even the smallest creatures can be. They all agreed that learning about the busy bee was very sweet. A bee is a true marvel of nature, buzzing with importance. Professor Paws said with a smile. If you enjoyed our kids' story about the busy bee, please buzz over to that subscribe button for more wonderful word adventures. And tell us in the comments, what's your favorite flower that a bee might visit?